So the other day I was thinking about all the completely idiotic and asinine things that Darth has said over the years. And I just thought to myself to come up with a video maybe of the 5 top stupidest things that I can remember. Now there were some very close seconds, or runners up, but I'm just putting the top 5 as I remember, off the top of my head. But probably if I was to actually go over and look up, everything and take the time to actually look, I could find a lot more stupider things. So this is just going to be, from the top of my head, the top 5 most asinine, stupid things that Darth Dawkins had ever said. Okay, now I'm going to start with number 5 and work down. Okay, here's number 5. He could temporarily assume that logic is dependent on Zeus.
How can you ask these questions without borrowing from my worldview?
No, I could temporarily assume that logic is dependent on Zeus to do an internal evaluation. For example, I can do an internal evaluation. I could do an internal evaluation of any worldview and temporarily assume it to do an internal critique. You can do that. Hold on a second. You can do that. You can do an internal critique of any worldview while temporarily assuming that it is a case, and then moving from there to see that if it's internally consistent. Now, I'm asking. I'll ask.
Okay, now what is especially incriminating about that statement is that on another occasion, he was asked, what is logic? His answer was, logic is the mind of God. So in other words, the mind of God could temporarily be dependent on Zeus. Okay, number 4. At one time, he spoke with Floyd F.P. He spoke with him more than once, but on this occasion, he asked Floyd to justify a quote from an author that he himself has also used, and also he glorifies this author. He has quoted this author many times. Here's that clip.
Question.
No, this is not going nowhere.
I think EF is trying to answer though.
No, that's justification for.
Okay, EF, can you answer it without a question form, please?
No, I will be glad to answer that question, but that question was proposed to me when he did not answer my question about Greg Bonson. So I will be absolutely willing to answer that. So I will restate my question. He put up a statement. He said, Greg Bonson said this. Now, Floyd, can you justify that Greg Bonson said that?
Based on the presuppositions of my worldview, yes.
Are your presuppositions justified?
No. They're pre-rational.
Then good. Then you can't justify the Greg Bonson.
Okay, now here's number 3. Okay, now this next clip was taken off of a conversation that he had with the Raging Atheists. This was from several years ago, but listen to what he tells the Raging Atheist.
Now, before we can discuss God or anything else, you have to understand that there are certain rules of thinking.
Okay, so he said, before we can discuss God or anything else, we have to understand that there are certain rules of thinking. Okay, so what's the problem with that? Well, the problem is that on one hand, he's saying, or the precept argument is, that in order to be coherent, you have to start with God. But now, on the other hand, here he's saying that before you can discuss God or anything else, you have to start with the rules of thinking. So, where are you starting from? Okay, now this is number 2. This is from a conversation he had a few years back with Skylar Fiction. And, well, listen to what he asked Skylar.
answer. Can you tell me one thing that you know is true where you cannot possibly be wrong?
One thing, that I'm not your God. I'm not the Christian God.
Okay, how do you know that?
That's it. That's your question. That was your question.
Okay, now, I mean, it is just so stupid and so idiotic. I don't even want to elaborate. I mean, I don't want to patronize anyone who actually just listened to that. That's how stupid this is. Okay, now this is number one, and this was taken, I think, this was from a few months back this year, but here's that clip.
Because there are so many great quotes in there about how we have to explain to the unbeliever that no matter where they start, their position is incoherent.
All right, so what's the problem with that? So remember, remember, the whole precept argument is that you have to start with God. But here he's talking about unbelievers, and he's saying no matter where they start, their position is going to be incoherent. Well, wait a minute. What if the unbeliever starts with God? It's so stupid. I mean, once he says that, actually what he just did, according to himself, he just committed metaphysical and philosophical suicide because he actually left his own worldview. He abandoned his own worldview. Okay, so that's it. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and if you feel like you want to make a comment, please do so.